Dustin Hoffman, Judi Dench, and tortoises. A lot of tortoises. Hello, I'm XuriTT, and today I will be talking about the movie Ezio Trot, based on the book by the famous author Roald Dahl. At the very beginning, a few words about this British author. He created many books and stories for children and adults. Among these for children, it is worth mentioning, for example, Matilda, the BFG, Fantastic Mr. Fox, probably most famous, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and one of his last works, the topic of this recording, Ezio Trot. His books have been many times adapted for the big and small screen. Fantastic Mr. Fox got stop-motion animation adaptation in 2009, the BFG got an animated one in 1989, and a live-action adaptation in 2006. Matilda was filmed in 1996. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory received more than one adaptation. In 1971 came out Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. In 2005 we got Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And recently, in 2023, we got a film with a less obvious title, Wonka, which can be treated as a prequel to the book story. And having his television premiere 10 years ago, on January 1st, 2015, Ezio Trot. But before I will talk about the movie, first the book. It is quite straightforward story, we have only two characters in it, Mr. Hoppy and Mrs. Silver. Both are old, they live in the same building, he had a balcony on the side and above hers, and he's in love with her. From the final scene of the proposal, we can conclude that the film is mutual. But he is also very shy and dreams of an opportunity to show some heroism to impress her. But he comes across another opportunity. Mrs. Silver had a tortoise named Alfie, and she would very much like him to grow. So Hoppy comes up with a plan. He deceives her and says that he knows a method for growing tortoises. A rhyme whose key element is the title of the book, Ezio Trot, which is tortoise spelled backwards. Hoppy himself buys a huge number of tortoises, and when she is not at home, he swaps them slowly. He swaps Alfie for a slightly bigger tortoise. After a week, he swaps the new tortoise again, and so on for 8 weeks, until the last one is twice as big as Alfie. Then there is a short plot with the tortoise being magically shrunk to fit in his hideout, and Hoppy, encouraged by his success, propose. A few weeks later, they get married and live happily ever after. A short and quick story with one problem which I will tell you about in a moment. The movie. The movie is a very enjoyable production. The main roles were given to Dustin Hoffman and Judi Dench, and they were great. Both were also nominated in the 44 International Emmy Awards as Best Actor and Best Actress respectively. He won the award, she unfortunately did not. Fortunately, the film introduced some additional characters. You could say that the narrator is not a new character, because in the book he also tells us the story. But here his role is bigger. He's one of the neighbors. We also meet his family, and you could say that he even takes part in the action. In addition, we have the characters of two sellers in pet shop and other neighbors, one of whom, Mr. Pringle, has a very important role. In terms of character, he's the opposite of Hoppy. Very self-confident, with a dominant personality, he's a competition for Hoppy when it comes to Mrs. Silver. Adding new events and characters was a good decision. From the content of the book alone, it would not be possible to make a regular length film. All this is important, but the most crucial change between the film and the book is, in my opinion, the solution of the issue of swapping tortoise. In the book, Mrs. Silver never finds out about it, and their marriage is built on deception, which is not something positive. In the film, Hoppy also deceives her out of love for positive reasons, but still, it's not okay. But as a result of a series of circumstances, she finds out about it, and Hoppy is sure that this is the end of his chance, so he plans to move out. But she visits him, says that she had thought everything over, and responds to his proposal positively. It is a much better ending, because it is honest. Additionally, it also turns out that Mr. Silver also actively worked towards meeting Mr. Hoppy, which is also nice. I really liked this movie when I watched it for the first time. Mr. Hoppy was very shy, like me. I changed thanks to love of my life, but still, watching him again, it was a pleasure. As bonus materials on the DVD and Blu-ray releases, we have less than an hour of snippets of interviews with actors and people involved in the production of the film. We also get few deleted scenes. The interviews are not great, because they are only the snippets, so the whole thing makes a strange impression. The deleted scenes are more interesting. Most are unimportant. It is not a problem that they were deleted, but two are quite important. Both add some background story to Mrs. Hoppy. In the film, we see many things related to airplanes in the decor of his apartment. From the one of these deleted scenes, we learn details about Hoppy's job. We learn that for 45 years he worked for Pan Am, but not as a pilot or anyone who is actually traveling, but as an accountant. The second scene explains where Hoppy actually assembled his turtle catching device. It is less important, but also cool, because it again mentions his love of airplanes. Some trivia. Dustin Hoffman have a turtle. His name is 70. The actor got him for his 17th birthday, which he celebrated in 2007, so a few years before the Ezio Trot was shot. Interesting coincidence. This is not the only thing Dustin Hoffman starred in that has some turtle elements. The Kung Fu Panda series is definitely worth mentioning, where he provided the voice of Master Shifu. His mentor was of course Master Oogway. In addition, Turtletext has described films with his participation with symbolic turtle elements, such as John and Mary, Papillon, Mr. Smuggling Wonder Emporium, Meet the Fockers, and Chef. Richard Curtis, the screenwriter whose other famous work include Four Weddings and a Funeral, Bridget Jones's Diary, Love Actually, and The Boat That Rocket, decided that Ezio Trot was worthy of a film adaptation after reading the story to his son. Finally, the most important piece of additional material that anyone wanting to have a turtle should remember.
Tortoises are a big commitments, and I think Judy appreciates that. And you know, they are a very, very big commitment because they're going to live as long as you. They're a daily animal. They need special requirements. So you have to seriously think about looking after these creatures. You'd really have to want one to have one.
That's all for now. Thanks you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you liked it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Bye.